this series of videos, we've been talking with Dr. Mike Bradley, the product manager for the Nicolet IS50 FTIR and the FTIR microscopes. And we've been talking about the Nicolet IS50 FTIR platform and all of the features and modules that it supports to build a complete materials analysis workstation. And we've been talking a lot about the embedded features that are within the instrument footprint itself, the built-in ATR sampling location, the FT Raman module, automatic beam splitter exchanger. And in this segment, I want to talk about the experiments and modules that are supported external to the instrument on both sides to build different configurations. So maybe you could start with talking about the left side modules that are supported, and we'll kind of work our way across.
Okay. Again, historically, when we looked at what people did with the FTIR units in their laboratories, one of the things they really wanted was the ability to bring the beam out to operate other experiments. And there were also modules that we had that we needed to be able to support. So the Nicolet IS50 has three main output beams. There is a rear output beam back here, which is not currently being used, but that one allows you to actually focus a beam down. So if you need to do high resolution work, that's the one you come into. This one right here, the closer to us port, is used for a collimated input beam. And in this case, or output beam. In this case, we have a near-infrared module attached to the side. Now this near-infrared module has built into the top an integrated sphere with the usual sphere underneath it and a gold mirror allowing us to do the backgrounds. So you just put a sample on top and it does essentially diffuse reflectance. It also has on the side of it connectors for fiber optic connections so that you can have a probe. Primary use here on this instrument is probably to develop methods which will be then implemented in instruments closer to at-line, on-line, near-line sort of applications. But the key point here is that the beam comes out of the Nicolet IS50, configured however you have it, and it comes into the module, and then the signal from the detectors which are built in here is transmitted back to the back of the Nicolet IS50. So that's more or less the left side. Okay.
And then in addition to sending the beam out to like the near-IR module, those support beams to come in for other types of advanced experiments as well, right?
On the right-hand side especially, we can both send the beam out, and what you see here is this is called PMIRAS, or Polarization Modulation Infrared Reflection Absorption Spectroscopy, which is a great technique for looking at ultra-thin films on surfaces. But you can also put a microscope over there, such as the Thermoscientific Nicolet FTIR FTIR microscope. And that microscope can be configured in a number of different ways, one of which is the beam goes out to the Raptor and then travels to the sample and allows you just to do the normal type of FTIR microscopy. But you can also put a source at the point where the sample is located and run the beam backwards through that microscope and bring that beam into the Nicolet IS50 and do your detection here with whatever detectors you've got installed so that you can look at emission sources such as OLEDs, organic LEDs, or things like that where you're really looking at the spectral range of what they're putting out. So you have the full capability of bringing the beam in. You may have other kinds of emission chambers, heated chambers, which heat your sample up and then cause emission. And you can put those on the left or the right, either one. And then as I said, the microscope, where you can put the beam out and do microscopy. We have a number of different microscope options that you can put there. And then all of these more research-oriented modules, as well as being able to apply that beam to your own custom-designed experiment, where you have your own optics and you just need a collimated beam out. And we can provide you the specifications of what that beam looks like.
Also, it might be a good time to talk about the hyphenated experiments that are supported. So another sample compartment accessory as well as an external module,
Okay.
right?
We have as a sample compartment accessory that you can use is the TGAIR, which is thermogravimetric analysis, infrared. And then in that case, you have a TGA, which heats the sample up. And as it heats it up, the sample begins to undergo breakdown or decomposition. And the gases that come off of it are then transferred over to this module that sits in the sample compartment, and we analyze those gases. This is an extremely powerful technique for especially things like rubber, different people who make tires and materials like that, and also pharmaceuticals and other materials where you just need to understand the breakdown. The other accessory that is being referred to is a gas chromatograph accessory, so that you can have a gas chromatograph attached to a module that sits in between the GC and the infrared, and the gases emerging from the chromatograph pass through what's called a light pipe, and the IR beam reflects many times inside that light pipe, allowing us to detect moderately low levels, not as low as you can with like a mass spec, but they're kind of in between there, what you can detect. And that allows you to get conformational information, especially things like the different cannabinoids and bath salts, which have ever so slight configurational differences. Like instead of being a 1,2, it may be a 1,3 compound or something on a ring or something like that. And you can see those differences in the gas of the GCIR. So it's a very powerful technique for those kind of things. But the main point there is just the multitude of different configurability options you have with the Nicolet IS50 FTIR.
And it's very easy from within the software to choose one of the
Yes.
beam paths that you have set up and configured
Oh, yes.
around the instrument. So,
Mhm.
well, thank you. We hope that you can. It's really clear that this is a no compromise platform that's been designed to provide a multitude of analytical tools at your fingertips to solve the problems that come to your lab. So thank you for joining us for this video, and look forward to talking with you more about